Hello and welcome to this tutorial about automating system management with PowerShell WMI and CIM. My name is Navneet Kumar. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. WMI and CIM are the two techniques used for collecting the system information, be it hardware, operating system, application, or the network's information. It is not only used to collect the information but also used for the automation and change management. There are many use cases of WMI and CIM, like it is used for inventory management, used for system monitoring, configuration management, automation, and troubleshooting. In inventory management, we collect the information about the hardware, software, and the network components. In system monitoring, we can track the system performance and the resource utilization by collecting the key metrics. In configuration management, we apply the desired system configuration to the target servers. In automation, we can create the scripts to perform repetitive tasks. We can use it for troubleshooting also to diagnose and resolve the system issues. The WMI solely used for Windows platform or for Microsoft Windows. This WMI was introduced in NT's 4.0 Service Pack 2 operating system. So it's a very old technique to collect this system information. It stands for Windows Management Instrumentation. So the WMI is purely for the Windows because it is web-based enterprise management deployment of Microsoft. This WBEM is the standard of DMTF, Distributed Management Task Force, and it is a proprietary service or tool from Microsoft for the Windows operating systems. Though we also have the CIM support in the Windows systems these days. CIM is actually the common information model. As the name suggests that it is common information model, so this platform is available for Windows and non-Windows machines also. Like for Linux distributions as well, you can use it for inventory. If we talk about the comparison between the WMI and CIM, so CIM has benefits over the WMI. WMI is the old technology. So CIM requires the Windows Management Framework 2.0 or later, whereas WMI will work with the older versions as well. CIM requires that remoting to be enabled, so CIM will be using the Windows Remote Management Service developed by Microsoft, and if you are using it Linux, then it will use the SSH. So it uses those WSMan services for the remote management purpose, whereas WMI is developed or utilizes the remote procedure call, the Microsoft remote connectivity protocol service, Microsoft's proprietary service actually, that is also used by other services like RDP. So remote procedure call is required, so that is why WMI does not depend on the remote management service. Offers the cross-platform compatibility, it is CIM. WMI is purely for Windows platforms. Requires a single firewall port exception, that is true with CIM because 5985 is the port over HTTP and 5986 is the port for the HTTPS for the WinRM in Windows operating systems if I talk about particularly. And WMI, because it works over RPC, so different RPC exceptions need to be configured. So firewall configuration becomes handy when it comes to CIM. Session-based connections can be established using CIM only. CIM supports both the session-based connections and ad hoc, whereas WMI supports only ad hoc connections. So support for the ad hoc connection is available in both. Ad hoc connections are like a connection is established, data is fetched, and the connection is removed. Support for the Windows 10, 8.1, Windows 8 or Windows 7, so CIM and WMI both are supported. If you have the server operating systems like 2016 or the 2012 R2, 2012 R2 or 2008 or 2008 R2 servers, so both are supported. The remote administration firewall exceptions need to be configured for the use of WMI. So this is a comparison between the two technologies, WMI and CIM. And here in this tutorial, I will talk about the WMI and CIM in context with automation with PowerShell. How can I use it to fetch the data to collect the inventory? Dealing with different namespaces and the classes and the objects, their properties and the methods in PowerShell to do the reporting. Not only reporting but doing the change management also by invoking the WMI or CIM methods. So let's look into the demonstration. What's there in the demo? Working with WMI and CIM in PowerShell. We have PowerShell commands to support the WMI and CIM. So let's jump into the demo. Windows PowerShell supports the WMI and CIM related commands. If you want to look into these commands, these are, if it is about WMI, so I can use Get-WmiObject, or in fact I can show you all the WMI related commands by copying this WMI, and because it is part of the noun, so I will do get command by noun, and this noun will be WMI, and I put the wildcard to see all the WMI related commands. So I have Get-WmiObject, Get-WmiMethod, Get-WmiEvent, Get-WmiObject, remove, excuse me, the verbs were different. So Get-WmiObject, invoke WMiMethod, register WMiEvent, remove WMiObject, and set WMI instances. I will start working with WMI first, and then we'll switch to the CIM. So if I go to this Get-WmiObject command, then you will see that there are different parameters. If I show you the help, so these are the parameter sets that I can get the WMI object by the classes, and some parameter attributes are parameters are there, like property or the amended and authentication, so on. So these are the three different parameter sets in this command, where I can query by the class, or I can use the WMI query also directly to query the data from the WMI instances. In the introduction of this WMI, I told you that WMI is web-based enterprise management implementation of Microsoft for managing this configuration, representing the management configuration of the hardware or the application or the operating system. So you might have used that WBEM tester tool as well. So if I go to run and I show you this WBEM test tool. So this WBEM tester tool is used to connect to the WMI namespaces. The data is organized in form of namespaces that come under the root. So the job of the namespaces is to organize the classes, WMI classes in it. So here I can connect to any of the WMI namespace. Let's say CIM v2, I have default, hardware, directory, so on. So if I click on connect, then I can enumerate the classes, I can open the namespace, I can enumerate instances. So I have lots of things that I can do over here. Suppose I want to enumerate the classes immediately or recursively. So it will get less data, but recursively it will go deep dive and will get all the classes. So actually these are the different classes in the CIM v2 namespace where I'm connected, that I'm showing you graphically. But suppose the same thing I have to do here in the PowerShell. So I will do Get-WmiObject, the class. Suppose I want to collect the system's BIOS information. So I will say Win32 BIOS for Windows operating system. So this is the BIOS information data, and it is not the entire data because the PowerShell displays few properties by default. So I want to list all of them. So format list, and which property I want to see is all properties. So FL star. So these are all the properties related to the BIOS of this system. In this way, I can collect any data about the hardware, operating system, or the applications on this system. Where this time I use this BIOS, I can use another class to get the, let's say, CPU information. So I will say processor, where I will get processor. I'll get the processor information on this system, that what is the processor on this machine that is installed. So you will see lots of attributes of this processor. Well, how will you come to know that what different classes are there if you don't know about them? So you can use the star. Instead of putting the name of the class, you put the wildcard here as a star. But because the star is not the name of any class, so I will use a switch here called list. I shown you multiple parameter sets for this command earlier. So this is part of one of the parameter set where I can list the classes if I don't know them. So I put that wildcard over here and I will see lots of classes. In fact, I can get more details or more classes by going recursively. You might have noticed that in the WBEM tester tool, when I was showing you that there was something recursively, there was a parameter that I could have used. So these are the WMI classes having the hardware, operating system, or the software information in them. Now, I can go recursively in case I want to get more data. So it will get more, the child objects or the detailed classes. I don't want to do that. That will take a little bit time. You can try that. Now, when it comes to get the classes with the star, I'm getting lots of content. So maybe I'm looking for the classes for a particular thing, let's say memory. So what I can do is I can use the keywords. So I use the wildcards that I do not care whatever is before M and whatever is after Y. So any sequence of characters, I don't care about them. So class I provided memory, and then I use list, because star memory star is not the name of any class. You will get the error if you don't use the switch list here. So now these are the memory related classes, and I have them for SIM. SIM is well organized actually, and Win32 are for the Windows machines. So as the name suggests, Win32, this is particularly for Windows, but SIM is for cross platform. Now I will go here with this Get-WmiObject, and I will request for the class that is Win32 physical memory, and this is the detail about the physical memory on this system. The capacity of this system's physical memory is this. Number of memory banks that I have available, they will also be listed. So lots of properties are there. When you deal with these classes, so you may know few of the classes that you can work with, or commonly used classes you can work with to explore them, and then learn about more and more classes and work with those classes and their objects and their properties. Some of the properties may not make sense to you. Suppose device locator and it is set to M0 over here. It does not make sense to me what it is. Okay, what does that mean? Memory type is 1. I have no idea what is memory type 1. So if that is the case, if you want to understand all these properties, so WMI is documented on the internet. So all you can do is you can go to the internet and you can put this class over here on the internet, Win32 underscore physical memory. When you go to this class, so let me go to this accept all, Win32 physical memory, and this is the class. In this, I see the Win32 physical memory and rest of the classes are also there. I want to understand some properties and methods, so I will scroll down and I can see the properties and as well as the method. So members, I'm looking for properties. Now it was the memory type, so rather looking for everything over here, I will search for memory type. So what does that mean? So memory type property. So there are 3 instances of that. So I go to this memory type, and memory type can have these values. So 1 means other, DRAM is 2, synchronous RAM, DRAM is 3, if it is cache DRAM, number 4, EDO 5, EDRAM is number 6, SRAM. So whether it is static or dynamic RAM, what kind of RAM it is, or it is a volatile memory, non-volatile memory. So if it is non-volatile memory, that is this one. Okay. ROM, we have different types: flash, EEPROM, EEPROM, CD-RAM, 3D RAM, so SG-RAM, so synchronous graphics memory. So there are different types of RAMs, DDR2, DDR3, so double data rate we have in these DDR. In DIMM slots, they are installed actually dynamic. We have that memory modules, SIM, DIMM, RIM. We used to work with them in 2000 at that time. So we can work with these dual inline memory module, it is called. I can recall this, yeah. Single inline memory module, dual inline memory modules. So that number represents that what kind of memory it is or where it is installed. DDR4 RAM, it is number 26. In my case, this memory type was 1. It was other because it was a virtual memory. It was my virtual machine, not a physical machine actually, when I'm doing this inventory. So you can know about the properties and what does the mean of that particular property value. So you can get that information from the internet. This is how we can query the data from these classes using WMI. Now, if I want to use the SIM, so I can use the Get-CimInstance. One more thing, the WMI or SIM are the ways or the technologies to access this data. They are not bound to use only the Win32 or SIM classes. Suppose if I have a a corresponding class for this Win32 physical memory, which is, let's say, sim physical memory. I'm just guessing. I must have checked that whether it is not there or not. So memory, I might have a bad assumption. So I go with this class sim physical memory. If this class exists, so I can collect this data. Okay. The way how to check this, I already told you that you can go with this memory list and so on. So here where I have this Win32 physical memory, I also have sim physical memory. So there might be a class which is with the same name in the sim. Okay. So sim or Win32 are the ways of documentation here. With WMI, I also can query the sim classes, sim data. And it is not necessary that the class which is available with a particular name in Win32 will also be available in the sim with the same name or will have same attributes of the object. It might be different. For an instance, for Win32 BIOS, this is for BIOS, but in sim I don't have sim BIOS, whereas I have this sim BIOS element. So if I want to know about sim, so I'll say Get-WmiObject. It is the alias for this command, Get-WmiObject. Class is positional. If you do not want to use, you can omit that. And then this is sim BIOS element, and this is the BIOS information of this machine. Now, if I want to use the not WMI but the underlying technology stack, I want to use different, which is SIM. I'm doing it for cross platform. Maybe I have mixed operating systems, Windows and Linux servers. So then I will go with the SIM because Linux will not support WMI. So get SIM instance, and the class name is the parameter in that. Then I will say SIM BIOS element, and then I will query this BIOS of this local system. But if I want to query a remote computer, then I can provide the remote computer name, which is, let's say, London DC1. This is the London DC1 I'm on right now. But if I want to query another machine, let's say London server 1, so it will collect the information from the server 1. This is the server 1 BIOS details. And it is using Windows Remote Management because on that server the WinRM is already running and the listeners are configured. So remote management is turned on the servers by default in the domain environments. So that is why it is collecting that data. If you want to know about more about the remote management and the Windows remote management, how to configure that, then you can watch my video about remote administration through PowerShell. I have done a detailed video on that. So this is how I can collect the SIM instance data, and I can collect more details about these properties. If you want to know about the namespaces, so we have the commands to work with namespaces also. When I did this Get-WmiObject, instead of class, I can use a parameter called namespace. Then the namespace on the root, I want to list that what different namespaces are there under the root. So namespaces are actually used to organize the classes. So multiple classes are part of one single namespace, and all these namespaces are under root. That is the hierarchy actually for this WMI. So if I want to know about the namespaces, I can do it this way. And this was how to use WMI and CIM to collect the information. Now in WMI and CIM, we can use the filters as well to filter the data. Suppose I want to filter the data by a particular property. So when Get-WmiObject class, for an instance, I use this Win32 underscore, and then I use for an instance logical disk information from this local machine. So drive type is 2, 3 means fixed, okay, 2 means it's removable drive actually. So A is actually floppy disk drive, as you know. So the drive types are different, the free space, the drive letters, there are different attributes of these objects. Now if I want to do the filter, then I can do the filter over here. I can provide the filter in this. In the filter, I will provide this query. That query comes under the double quotes, and I will provide the query, let's say the drive type. So drive type, and then in drive type I will use this equal sign to look for something like drive type 3. So the value is 3 because it's integer, so I'm not using that single quote here. If it is a string, then you will use the single quote. So this is my query, drive type equals 3. Where it is used when I'm working with a massive amount of data, when I have multiple computers to process. For an instance, Get-WMIObject hyphen class, which is Win32 underscore operating system. And this is about the operating system of this local machine, but I put the computer names here: London DC1, this is this local machine, London server 1, so that is another machine, London CL1. I'm not sure about on the CL1 whether remote management is enabled or not, because it's a client machine and on clients by default remote management is not turned on. So I doubt that it is running there. So that is why I'm able to collect the data from two different other servers, but not from the client one. So anyways, these are the server versions. Both computers are the servers actually. If I check the all properties, so let us remove this client one from this list, and then I go with this FL star. So I want to get all the properties. Here are the properties of these operating systems. Both of the machines have 2019 data center evaluation edition. So this is the server one, which is 2019 data center evaluation, and the other machine, which is which I queried, 2019 data center, and this is server one first object with all these properties. Did I query the DC machine as well? Oh, excuse me, it is a typo over here for this DC one. I got the error for that. I did not notice. So I put this DC one. So both of the machines. Here we see 2019 data center is installed on this server one, and the other one is also this 2019 data center. The caption property shows that, and this is London DC1. Now I want to filter these computers by a particular property, maybe the build number or something. So build number, they might not have same build number. Build numbers are used for the internal tracking of the software projects by the companies. So this is the build number of this operating system that is there on this machine. This is 17763, and what about this one? So server 1, and what is the build number of that? 17763. It is same. Okay, installation date is this, last boot. I pick a particular property by which I want to identify them. So status is okay, free, of course this will be unique that I can use. Build type is multi, caption is this, code set is this, country code is 1, and here is maximum number of processes it is having. Windows user, okay, registered user is Windows user on this machine, and this is the version 10.0.17763. okay. So I believe it will be the same also for both of the machines. What is the version of this machine? Let's see. Version 17763 for this one, and for this one the version is 10.0.17763. okay. Size stored in paging files. Okay, let's say I want to filter them by size, storage size, or serial number. This is the serial number. Okay, by a particular serial number I want to collect the object, so I'll do the filtering here the same way I did earlier. So get WMIObject, I will query both of the computers, and then I'll apply the filter. Here comes my query, and here I say it is by serial number, and I'm looking for a computer with a serial number which is equivalent to this number. So this must be the serial number. I'm running this query on two computers and filtering for the one with that serial number. Invalid query, select this, and equal. Okay, so this data type is not exactly as integer. Let me put it, yes, it is having some hyphens over here. So let me make it a string. Only one computer has come up over here because that computer is having that serial number, and which one it is you can check with the FL star. So by checking that which computer it is, you can check all the properties. There will be a PS computer name property for this, which is London DC1. Actually, this is the serial number of DC1. If I had to do the same thing and across, let's say, 100 computers or 1000 computers. So this command may take some time. Okay, it will be time consuming. So it is better when you are processing massive amount of data, you use the query language. So that query language is also supported over here. So you go to Get-WMI, and instead of using the class name, you provide the query over here. The WMI uses the query language, which is WMI query language, WQL, or also pronounced as HUQL sometime. So this will have the query over here. This query is SQL-like query language, which has statements like select, which properties you want to select, from which class. Like in SQL, how do we do that? We define select which column of the table, from which table. So here I will provide the class is win32 underscore, and that is the operating system. So operating system, and then I will go with this computer name. This computer name is London DC1, and the other computer is London CL1. Two computers, both of them are coming. Now I want to query and apply a filter over here, so I will use where statement. Actually, these statements need not to be in capitals. I have just put them into the caps just to identify that, okay, these are the different statements I have used in this query language. So in where I will provide my criteria to filter this object, for particular object that I'm looking for. So I will say where the serial number. So here comes the serial number property. So where will I have the property, and then the operator, and then the value by which you want to filter that. Now you will run that query against those computers, and you will collect that data. So where serial number, I have a typo actually in the serial number. So I will go with this, let's say, serial number, and I will query the computer. So this is the WMI query language that I have provided to query for a particular object out of those 2 or 200 or 2000 objects. So the query will run and will bring that result. So it is that DC machine. So if I select the property or format list, and I check that PS computer name to show you. So here you will see the computer name is London DC1, which has that serial number. Well, this is how I can query the remote computers, and I can query them using the WMI query language. You can go with help about to query this WMI query language, WQL, and it will give you all the details about this WQL query language, where it has different statements like select statement, from statement, where statement. Okay, so it will tell you everything about this, how to use these different statements in WMI query language. Well, now I use this WMI query language. We can use that same query language in the CIM as well. Suppose I want to query these two computers. CL1 is having the okay, this time I use the CL1. Let me just run it against the CL1. So that means remote management is having the remote management turned on. If I remove this where statement and I just query two computers, I think it was coming up with two computers. Yes, so client one is also having that. And if I do the format list, so I accidentally this time put that CL1, and here you will notice that this caption property shows you that this is the Microsoft Windows 10 Enterprise operating system. So suppose I want to filter with this, so this can be one of the criteria as well. So it can be any criteria, maybe the computers with particular processor clock speed, or memory, free memory, free disk space, so on. Whatever you want to query to do the inventory in your data center, you can do it with this. So this time I will change my where filter. I will say this is where statement. Okay, I'll again put it in caps, or let me just show you that in the small as well, it will work. So where, and then caption property, where caption equals to, and I'll put that property value, that Microsoft Windows 10 Enterprise. So show me those machines which have Windows 10 Enterprise operating system. So it will bring one result only this time, and that machine, if I check the name of the computer, or PS computer name, that is the London CL1. This is how you can query the computers. Now the same query language will also work for CIM if you are using CIM query language. So SIM uses that SQL, not that SQL. Okay, SQL is that structured query language. For SIM, we will call it SIM query language. Okay, which is WQL like, almost same. So Get-CimInstance. So Get-CimInstance query this all the properties, select Win32 operating system, because of course all the systems are Windows machines, so I can use Win32 class over here, and it will query that target computer and will return the machine for the my bad, WMI was working on CL1 because it actually it was WMI, so it will use RPC, remote connectivity. SIM will require the Windows remote management. So because Windows remote management is not running on the CL1, this will fail, like I discussed initially in the topic. Okay. So for this to work, I need to enable the remote management. In fact, in the introduction, I told you that Windows remote management is the underlying technology used by SIM to query the remote machines. So it uses Windows remote management if it is Windows machine, and SSH if these are Linux machines or the network devices using that. So on this CL machine, if I say enable PS remoting, I enable the PowerShell remoting on this system. It will start the WinRM. It will configure the firewall exceptions, this command, and will configure the HTTP listeners as well. So let this be completed. You see, the Windows remote management has been updated to receive the requests on this machine now. Now I can query that remote computer using SIM as well. So last time it was not working. I'll switch back to my server machine, the domain controller machine. And here, if I will run this command again, so it will work this time against both computers. So SIM is also working and SIM is using that query. This also proves that SIM uses the Windows remote management. Okay. So this is how I can query the systems using WMI query language in WMI and in SIM. Now WMI and SIM are not used to do the inventory management only. They can do lots of other things. They can also be used for change management. You have some networks, devices, you have some hardware, software, operating system services, processes that you want to manipulate. You can do that object manipulation. You can do that change management using these WMI and SIM. How do we do that? Let's have a look. So we have the properties and methods for these objects in SIM. So what I'll do here is I will go with this Get-WmiObject, and in this Get-WmiObject I will look for a class. Let's say this class is Win32 underscore service sys. So the class is service, I think Win32 service class, yeah, not services. So these are the different services that I have got over here. Now I want to deal with these services. I look for a particular service first of all, so I'll filter for that. So filter, and here comes my filter. I will filter by its name. Let's say name equals to, and not that equal operator, it will be that sign, and then I'll say name of the service is bits. So bits is right now stopped. If I do get member over here, you will come to know that it has not only the properties, but it has few methods as well. So the WMI SIM methods will have some objects, methods that I can use to apply the methods on these machines. So like I have stop service, start service, so I can stop this service using them. So I have few methods. So it is right now stopped. If I want to start that, I can use the method to start it. Okay. So how will I do that? I will get this service. Now I will pipe it into my generic command for iterating the objects and taking actions against them. That is for each object. So in that for each object, I will provide the member name. If you are new to this for each object command, then you can visit my video on object enumeration using for each also. So for each object member name, and in that member name I will provide that start service method. So it will apply that method over here and the service will be started. Return value is 0. 0 means that it is accepted successfully. So whatever the class is, whatever the method is, if it is 0, it means successful. If it comes with anything else, any other number, then it means it is not accepted. Now what is the reason it is not accepted? What this number 10 means? So again, I will go to that internet and put this class over here, because I told you earlier that WMI is documented on internet. All you need to do, you need to go to this MS Learn link, Formerly, we were using that MSDN or TechNet. So here, if I go to this Win32 service class, here it is documented with methods and properties. So if I look into the methods, there is a method called start service which I used. If I attempt this method, and this is the method, what it will do, it is explaining the method, and then if 0 comes, then request is accepted. If any other number, there will be a different reason, and these numbers and reasons will vary class to class or method to method. If I go to the number 10, then service is already running. It is the reason. That is why it did not start that service. So this is why I got this 10, because the service was already started. It was already in the running state. If I check that, so it is already running. Now what I can do is I can put or apply that stop service method this time on this object. So I have another way of doing this as well, applying a method. So for each object is a generic command. It can be used to apply any property or method on the objects by iterating them. But we have a dedicated or a special command for the WMI objects to work with, and that is invoke WMI method. Invoke WMI method command. Now if I go with this invoke WMI method, and then I want to define the name of that method, that is stop service, that I checked with the get member command. So this method will be applied, and I got that return value 5. That means this method has not been applied. Stop service. Okay. Because return value must be 0 if I want that to see in the action. So if I want that to work, so 5 is because I think it was automatically stopped already on this server. You can check for that stop method over here. So I checked for this earlier. I checked for this start service. If I go to this stop service method, what is number 5 used for? So this is number 5. The requested control code is not valid, and control code is not valid, or it is unacceptable to the service. It cannot accept it accepted for the service. Why it cannot be accepted? Because the service was already in the stopped state, I believe. So this time I invoke the WMI method to start the service. So I will say start service this time, the method name. Then I got the value 0. The service has been started if you check. Okay, and because now it is running, now I will go with that stop service. This time I will get 0. Okay, so this is how I can use this invoke WMI method command also to apply these methods on WMI objects. This is how it can do the change management when it comes to work with the applications, services, processes on the system. So you can use the methods to take these actions against these objects. Well, after this, let's figure out the feature of the CIM, that is session based connections. Right now, when I query the remote machines using this Get-WMI command, any command I use, Win32 service, or I use this query command with WMI. So what it was doing is it was opening a connection with the target computers and was providing the results. So let's keep it short and simple. I go with the 2 computers and I'm querying for the operating system details through WMI. And the connection was terminated after the data was collected. So it is ad hoc based connection. But if I have to query a system again and again or on repeated manner, so it is better that I establish a session with that machine and I use that session. So we have a command called new CIM session in the CIM, okay, in common information model. In the introduction, I discussed in that comparison table, if you recall, that CIM supports session based connections. I will store that session into a variable somewhere. So session, and session equals new CIM session, and session with the computer name that I want to establish is let's say London server 1. So it will create a session and store it here. If I go with this, this is the CIM session name. I did not provide it, that's why the name has been taken automatically. ID is 1, and this is over WSMan. You know, the CIM uses Windows Remote Management, which is the implementation over Web Service Management standard, industry standard. Linux introduced Linux used SSH. Microsoft uses Windows Remote Management. Okay, so this is the session that has been established. Now, if I have to query the remote machine, so get CimInstance, and the class is, let's say, Win32 operating system, because these are Windows machines, so I can go with that. But instead of providing the computer name, so see, the computer name will also work over here, but instead of providing the computer name, this time I will say sim session, and I have a session with one computer already, so I'll use that session. So I'll go with that dollar session, oops, excuse me, so dollar session. Okay, and in this dollar session, this is the detail of that particular machine. Now I can get the sim sessions on a system, and then I can remove the sim session also. Remove sim session. Session ID is, let's say, 1, and if I get the sim session, so there is no sim session right now here. So that's how we can work with the sessions in sim. So that's all about WMI and CIM, and WMI and CIM related PowerShell commands that we have available. We have invoke CIM method command also, like we have WMI method, so we can use invoke CIM method to apply the methods. Okay, so this was about working with WMI and CIM using Windows PowerShell. We explored some of the classes, but I recommend that you explore more and more classes depending on your job work, whether you're a network engineer or a system administrator. So you can look for the appropriate classes that can help you to do the inventory, reporting, monitoring, okay, automation. So you can look for those particular classes and deal with them, their properties and methods, and put them into the PowerShell scripts. I hope this session was informative to you. Thanks for watching, and do not forget to subscribe my channel. Thank you.